14.1 is staff report. I'm going to ask Councillor Southcott.
Thank you, Worship. I need to declare a conflict on this. And it's a little convoluted, so I wrote something down that I will read. On March 21st, 2024, Mayor Wasno introduced a motion to Council to direct staff to obtain a legal opinion for the purpose of determining if Councillor Isaacson and Councillor Elliott have a non-pecuniary conflict of interest should they participate in discussions relating to the city's potential name change. That was the motion. When it was presented, I considered whether the rationale for the legal opinion might also apply to me. This left me in doubt as to whether I was also possibly in conflict to consider the motion, and I therefore recused myself from the discussion as well. In spite of the fact that the question before Council was to whether or not to seek a legal opinion with respect to my two colleagues, not what the legal opinion was about, and that my reason to recuse myself didn't actually apply to the question before Council, Community Charter Section 100, subsection 4 requires me to confirm now by legal advice that I am not in conflict regarding the reason I did recuse myself, as was pointed out by a Powell resident in a letter to Council in the city dated March 2 this year. So until I procure that, I will recuse myself when Council considers anything related to the name change question. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Elliott.
Thank you, Your Worship. I wish to, if I can keep it on the phone spot here, I wish to read a voluntary disclosure regarding potential name change issue. For the purposes of transparency and in accordance with the BC Community Charter and our Council Code of Conduct, I wish to make a voluntary disclosure regarding this matter. My children are currently employed by the Tla'amin Nation. I have carefully reviewed this relationship in the context of the proposed community name change. I have determined that I do not have a conflict of interest because, number one, the name change is a broad policy decision and does not result in any direct or indirect financial or private benefit to my children. Their employment is entirely independent of this specific legislative action. My stepdaughter, Lindsay Elliott, works for the emergency services for the Tla'amin as the Emergency Services and Fire Smart Coordinator, and for the Fire Department as a paid on-call Deputy Fire Chief. My stepdaughter, Lacey Elliott, has in the past worked as an RN for the Tla'amin Health, but currently works for VCH located in Tla'amin Health offices in a partnership between VCH and the Tla'amin. My daughter, Shelby Elliott, is employed by the Tla'amin Child Development and Resource Center as an early childhood educator in their daycare. None of these jobs have any impact from this decision. This decision is not related to their work. Any perceived conflict is not based on a private interest as defined by law, but on a misrepresentation or a misinterpretation of my family's professional roles, which have nothing to do with the name change. As such, I will remain in the meeting, participate in the discussion, and vote in the interests of the entire community. Thank you.
Okay. Excuse me. Get clarification from our corporate office. How should we proceed at this point?
Thank you, Mayor. It is Councillor Elliott's motion. So the usual course of events is for the person who's bringing the motion to be the first to speak to it.
Thank you.
I would make the motion in the package, and if I get a seconder, I would speak to it. Do you need me to read it out?
Yeah, read it out, please.
Okay. I move that council direct staff to prepare a report intended to inform the next council about, 1, the background information regarding the potential name change to the city, 2, a community engagement framework that includes resources required to implement, including budgets, with the objective of identifying a potential new name for the community to consider.
Second by Councillor Isaacson.
Thank you, Your Worship. So when we were discussing the fact that we didn't have time for community engagement that would result in the information needed from the community to hold the vote this election period, we made a motion to defer actions to next term, with the exception being asking staff for a framework for that community engagement. And so this is the motion following the decision of ours to consider this motion when it came before us. And the intention is to have all of the background information that has come to the city to date be summarized in a report, along with the step for moving forward, which is to engage the community in a conversation to try to identify what name might go on a ballot for a vote, because we don't have that yet.
Okay. Councillor Isaacson.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, this was a pretty convoluted path to get here, but I support this motion in the sense that the original motion put forward by Mayor Wasno to postpone any action by council till after the election, that was in conjunction with staff, was based on the realistic nature of what's possible between now and the election, and putting together the engagement and the work that was a part of the original council strategic priority related to name change was not feasible before, is not feasible before the next election. And so I supported the mayor's motion in principle. However, I did see the possibility of some forward movement. I think that exploring this at some point in our term, even if we are not the recipients of that work, I think is important to do. I know that we have struggled with staff turnover and staff capacity, and there's a number of reasons that we haven't been able to take action. And so this is a way for us to get a little bit further. However, it sets up the next council, and I think it is a little bit awkward in the sense that we're preparing the next council to make an informed decision about how and if to move forward, so that they understand the resources required to move forward and what that might look like. Knowing what I know now about being on council, there's a lot of time when councils first form. So this November, a new council will be here, and there's a lot of learning process that happens to get up to date. There's a fire hose of information, and there's a bit of a lag between starting being on council and starting to set council priorities and take intention steps forward. This helps. This will help get the next council a baseline of understanding for them to make an informed decision. And so this is a balance between this council ensuring that some work proceeds, but given the challenging nature of timing and capacity, knowing that it is staff have been clear, it is not possible to do the work to put a question on the next election, that this is a compromise. It's not what I would have hoped at the beginning of our term, but I think it's what's realistic given where we are at this point in our term. Thank you.
I'm going. Oh,
Go.
I will go after you, Councillor Doubt.
Okay. I'm going to vote against this motion for a couple of reasons. The first one, the most important one, is we have heard numerous times from our CAO and staff that they have limited ability to write new reports for council and to do the work that we've already asked them to do, asking for many reports in a previous time. Reports are a good idea, generally. We have literally hundreds of pages on our website about work that's been done that anybody can read. If anybody wants to go and see a good movie about it to save the reading time, you could do that at the film festival. Because I saw the movie yesterday, about the name change, and it's got a lot of information in it. The first reason is it's taking up staff time that's precious, and we've heard is not available for things to get done within this term, let alone the other one. And the next part is we don't know what 7 people are going to be elected to council in October and what their priorities are going to be. Hopefully they will get together early in their term and determine what their strategic priorities are. And it may or may not be the name change. If it's not the name change, then all of the effort that's gone into writing another report is wasted. So I'm not in favor of doing this. I think it creates an impression that staff will study some things and make a report on what will happen in the future. But the fact is, if the new council, who we don't know anything about, doesn't want to do it, they won't. I would have preferred, when the mayor made his original motion, he would have simply said, let's not have a referendum or let's not have an opinion poll, on October 26th. And then we could have actually started with public engagement and education and tried to find a way to talk to each other. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. But I'm not in favor of trying to set up next council and tell them what to do before they even start.
Thank you. So
Hello, Justin.
very succinctly, I will not be supporting this motion. And I'm not going to repeat all the reasons Councillor Doudt just said, but there's better things for staff to be doing.
I just noticed that Councillor Palm is unmuted, and so he may have words as well as Councillor Almeida.
Councillor Palm, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Mayor, I would like to speak at some juncture.
Please, go ahead.
Yes, so as we have all discussed this at length at a previous meeting, and we passed the mayor's motion to not do a lot more work on this until the next councillor is sworn in to plot the future course of this saga. I totally concur with Councillor Doubt's comments that staff has got many things of their greater importance right now on their plate than this motion states, and that this can be held off until a new council decides what they want to do. In terms of this motion overall, I cannot support it because, in my estimation, this motion counters the mayor's previous motion and drives that wedge further into the divide that's happening in our community at this time. And there's no need for that, especially in light of the great presentation that was made earlier tonight about TFL and working at great lengths to improve the economic viability of the whole community as from all of our lands incorporate. And we should be working with Clahaman and not bringing this issue back up for the rest of the 7 months that will be in session for this term. That can be held off until a later date and the new council can decide a course of action. So I will be voting against the motion. Thank you.
We have Councillor Almeida.
Thank you, Mayor. It seems like my comments are relatively moot at this point based on the feedback from other councillors and the fact that we only have 6 of us. So it seems like this vote's going to get tied and not move forward anyways. My only thoughts were, while I agree with some of the comments that Councillor Doudt said, I also, coming into this term, there were things that the previous council left unresolved for the current council to tackle, and that happens from council to council regardless. I imagine when September comes around, there's going to be a vote that we're going to push to for the next council to handle the schedule right now for October. So for that sake, I wasn't concerned with having a document ready for the next council to expedite the process should they be ready, but so I'm fine with being in favor of it, although it's relatively moot, it seems. So.
Okay, we have a motion. All in favor? Opposed?
Nay.
A 3-3, the motion is defeated. We'll move to
Thank you.
14.